Hello, everybody. Welcome to Hamster's Hobby Hang. Chris coming in with the nerd on a subscription. Ain't that something? 40 months. Can you believe this channel has existed for 40 months? That's wild. Hey, Finley. I try not to think about how I've given my work $200 back in Twitch subs. Yeah, same. I'm like, what's the $5 for the streak? That's longer. That's longer than I've been alive. Wow, you're doing great, especially for your age. Only less than 40 months old. Goodness gracious. Well, it happened. Last time I said, know thyself, right? I said, maybe I'll finish Maul over the weekend, and that probably means we'll do it next stream. Is this Captain Kirk? Does that look like Billy Schatz? Yeah, I can see the resemblance. Nerd singular. Oh no, there's a hype train started. Look what you did. Ain't paying? Yeah, it's an extra 50 cents for the plural nerds. That's what I heard. Thank you, Zuchin, for the sub as well. Listen. Last time, I was looking at my box art reference, wondering if Maul was painted with khaki pants. This morning, or was the last night, I saw a picture of this model on a Facebook group that someone painted with khaki pants. Alright? So I'm not crazy. One of the photos that was taken of the model for the box art looks like khaki pants. I'm happy with the choice we made on these. They're kind of like a greenish gray. Normally I like a cool gray, but I like this greenish gray. It's kind of slate-like. But anyway, all I'm saying is I wasn't the only one who saw the khaki. The old navy going on with the Maul box art, okay? But I'm looking at this. We don't have too much more to go. I mean, the rest is metal, and it'll probably be non-metallic, so we'll take your time with it, but it'll probably... Again, I always say, it's not gonna go so long, and then it takes the whole stream, so we'll see. I am very bad at estimating time with models. But yesterday, I believe, I just finished assembly on a 2,000 point list for Warhammer 40,000 10th edition. I'm very excited to give that a shot. We also have the Leviathan box, which I think will be a nice starting point. Maybe get some practice games in, but we're still playing Sigmar too, so I want to keep that learning up. Really, I just want to play anything. Is that what I'm saying? I think that's what I'm feeling. Why was I going to do yellow? Oh yeah, the base. I'm a little disappointed, because I'm liking these paints a lot. The squash. And I'm pretty sure I looked on the Liquitex website, and this starter set comes with this size of bottle, but individually they only come in enormous bottles. So I think it's just like a sample set. I'm like, this is like the perfect size. It's more than like the average hobby bottle. It's like a perfect amount. Great bottle design. But I can only get big ones. I will probably still do it because I like these a lot and I want to get a couple more colors for my mixing as I mix more of them. Oh, this is your first time since I moved? Well, welcome back. Yeah, normally I have a green screen, but Katie's in the bedroom now, and I was like, hey, do you care walking behind me if you have to go to the bathroom or something? And she's like, no. I was like, okay, then I'm not setting it up. Because I got home a little late. That's the one thing about this stream. Obviously, I love doing it. But it's like the worst time to leave work. I either have to like leave awkwardly early. Well, normally I just have to do that. But if you leave too late, it's just like rush hour and stuff, and the trains are all delayed. And so I kind of hit like not too late, but not early enough for it to be fast. So I was kind of rushing. So it's like, I'm not doing the green screen. But yes, the space is wonderful. The company is wonderful. Every place that I've moved to in the city has been an upgrade. Twitch doesn't have background blur like Zoom. Maybe it does. I feel like it would be like awkwardly popping in and out though, you know? It ain't gonna be perfect. Oh my gosh, I've never seen this before where the hype train banner that shows up on the chat says you missed the train, and there's this emote. And it's like the hype train's no longer going. It's like, man, that is a bummer of a notification. Not that I needed that. It's just like when the hype train stuff came out, it was very exciting, and I've never seen the like wah wah notification. You failed, yeah. Like, why make a thing for that? That's just a feel bad notification. Why would you design that? Where is, oh, here it is. The burnt sienna. I've bought so many gosh darn paints, and now when I need to paint something, I just like use this collection. How many paints is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Just this little starter set of colors. It's like, why do I own all these paints? I think paints are good for army painting when you want the consistency and the ease of like doing units in the future, but I probably didn't need to buy all these paints. I've said this before, just don't do what I did when you're like, I'm kind of interested in that brand of paint. How much is the entire set? Just get a handful. Does that mean I sub for nothing? No, it is much appreciated. It is much appreciated. Do I want to do the non-metallic right now? Maybe I'll just start with the base just to get the brush moving. Just to get paint on the model. Well, there's already paint on the model, but you know what I mean. I think I started too light over black. I've been having some trouble with that, like opacity, and mostly comes from impatience. Because it's really hard to layer up lighter stuff when your first layer isn't opaque enough. You're always gonna like have an awkward little dark section. And it feels like an extra step to do like a darker color underneath, but it saves time because you're not just trying to build up opacity with a lighter color like with a million layers. You can do some of the blurrage. Oh, I don't know. Well, let's see. Oh, I guess there is some clutter behind me. I was gonna say, it looks nice enough, doesn't it? But meanwhile, there's like garbage on the counter. Oopsie. I miss the Skype Coliseum. At the beginning of COVID, we would have the team meetings on Skype, and there was like an option to click for some reason to put every participant like in a Coliseum with just like their camera photo like hovering in the Coliseum. And if someone like, I'm pretty sure like if you clicked the option, it displayed that for everyone like automatically. So all of a sudden you're just in a Coliseum. And the thing is like nobody ever mentioned it. So I think Mace, if I'm right, would just like hit it and see everybody there. And no one said it, but we're just like, what's happening? Automatic for everyone. But then we just continue. Jay hated it. Oh no. But that's why it's so funny, because I know there was confusion, but no one ever commented. Like when someone burped in the middle of a meeting. Look, Chris, I wasn't gonna bring it up. I wasn't gonna bring it up. Nobody knew. Oh dear, yeah. No, that was another one where there was a burp on the mic and it was so loud and no one said a word. Like that was, listen, I was muted. I was out of my chair cackling. Like I could not believe. And the silence was the best part, the silence afterward. I was out of my chair just giddy. It was incredible. There was like the slightest pause and then the meeting just continued. Oh my god. It's one of my favorite memories, honestly. I remember it very fondly. Oh boy, I'm laughy today. My favorite moment of the pandemic. I think mine too. And maybe, you know, maybe part of it was the pandemic, right, where I really needed like a moment of joy, and boy, that was one of them. This is a cover, we all know it was Maze. You know the date? You know the dates? Cal, 2021, I can't believe it. Skype Coliseum terrain when, yeah, it's not just like Coliseum style terrain, it's Skype Coliseum specifically. Oh, I can't believe you know the date. A historic moment. Make a Kalen tier background? There you go. That'd be cool. Maybe at some point we gotta put something on the pre-roll. You know what I was singing? What do you think of I think I mentioned this once maybe. What if there's like a Forge Report time lapse for a pre-roll? That might be cool. Oh man, oh dear, it's not dry. Impatience is the hardest part of mini painting for me. What's the angle here? What's the prime angle? I kind of like to do a spotlight effect on the base where it's like brighter on like the main angle. So we'll add some dark back in and totally muck up this base coat. I just searched burp in Slack. There are so many messages about it. And the funniest part, it's probably not just from that day. Am I right? Oh, man. I had a thought, it just escaped me. I was thinking about burps. A little wet blendage. I found this brush I forgot I had. Look at this fancy handle going on. I don't think it's not Kalinsky Sable. Kalinsky Tajmir. What is that? Is that a different hair? It feels similar. I don't know where I got this. A lot of times I walk into an art store and I just buy random stuff. If I walk through the door of an art store, it's over. I'm like, I'll just browse around. I'm like running errands. I pass a store and I'm like, I'll just look and get a few things. It's like minimum $100, unless I walk out with nothing. I have to like force myself out. If I let myself get anything, it's gonna be done for. So I don't do it very often. But anyway, I find like random brands. This is something to try. I can't even remember the last time I was in a physical art store. I lost a little bit of the warmth there. It's the trap of highlighting or mixing with white. Nope, let it dry, stop touching it. Talking to myself. Gonna maybe move to the lightsaber, but nah, I should finish the metal. I'm just avoiding the metal. I was gonna say because it's gonna be hard, but maybe it doesn't have to be. It can be exaggerated. Trick is gonna be making it not like the surrounding black ray. But as long as we push the reflective highlights, it should be alright. Thinking about the prime angle for the highlights, the non-metallic illusion. Thinking that kind of. Pretty good start. It's maybe a little dark still. I feel like the lighting is weird in my apartment. I haven't gotten it. Maybe it's just because it's such a dark colored model right now. Or it could be a refurbished camcorder from like the 2010s. That might do it. Not too bad, fairly quick. I don't know if this is these might actually be belts. Well, that's alright, I'll make them reflective. Separates it nicely. Once I do the bright lightsaber, I don't know, I might punch up the face. I might punch Maul in the face. Punch up the highlights on the face or something. Red is a strange color. Because if you go too bright, it looks pink or orange. So it's like, to get the brightest red, it's actually fairly dark, I'm learning. It's like the highest saturation, like you want it to be the boldest red, but it can't be like lighter, or it's gonna not be red anymore. I don't know, it's a weird color. This looks pretty dry, maybe I'll keep going with this. Do you like to underpaint before red? It depends. I don't normally underpaint for a specific color. Like with the hobby hang minis where I'm not sure what I'm gonna do, I mostly am just doing layering. So I typically just start from black when I do that. So I think going back to a point I said earlier about opacity, underpainting isn't wrong by any means, but I don't normally do it, or I don't do it every time, because you can get away with it just by doing a couple layers of gradual colors that are darker, and then you can still get opacity with red. Because I know underpainting is often about opacity when you're like, oh, undercoat yellow with this and it will help. It does because the color is transparent naturally, the pigments, right? And so to get a bold yellow just by painting yellow doesn't really work because the paints are always thin across almost every brand. And so underpainting helps boost the opacity of the yellow. So that's the main thing. If you're underpainting or layering, as long as you get opacity underneath it to like boost it, then it'll be okay. So anyway, I'm just rambling now, but I use underpainting a lot, especially for armies and stuff, to get effects faster. And especially when I'm doing transparency effects like contrast paint and stuff like that. But not for a specific color necessarily. I mean, it depends on what kind of red I want, right? Like, it mostly depends on the atmosphere of the model. Like, if I want a grungy model or like an organic fleshy model and I want it to be red, I might underpaint it to like influence the look of the red, mostly by affecting the entire model. But so whatever works for you. I mean, what have you used in the past? I used to base stuff in white or light gray before red to make it brighter, but it would go too pink often. Yeah, that's the thing about it. You can't mix white into red or it's gonna go pink so fast. And that's the thing about underpainting too, is like acrylic paints are always somewhat transparent. just by their nature. That's why you got to build up multiple layers to get opacity. So when you underpaint, it's mixing with your eyes. It's optically mixing. So it's gonna go pink. It's gonna be very hard to like get past that. I think basing in underpainting in white for saturation is effective in a lot of cases, but that's where you run into problems, is when you're with a color that is naturally super transparent and hard to get coverage with. It's gonna do that. So that's why I avoid it on miniatures like this, where I'm just gonna layer up and have like complete control over everything, because then I can go back and forth with that slowly, instead of being like, oh, I underpainted it and now I'm like basically trying to fix the underpainting effect with more layers on top. But mostly when I underpaint, you know, oftentimes these I usually start with black just for that control. But for speed paints and army paints, and really just depending on the atmosphere, I might do it on a display thing, but it's usually in the zenithal prime. I like to zenithal prime, but I rarely do black and white these days. I normally will try to like, because it's a whole step, so it's like, how much value can I get out of a step? So if I'm gonna be like priming in 2 colors, I might as well not do black and white. I might as well do something that'll influence the layers on top. Yeah, like for instance on my Warhammer Orcs I was painting up for the past couple months, I did like a kind of a salmon-y, still light, still like almost equivalent to white. It's like the highest value in the zenithal, but it's like a salmon-y color almost, to get that like fleshy effect, because I was going to do like a bluish skin, but I was doing a contrast paint and then oil washes, so when I like basically rubbed it off, I wanted there to be like a skin, almost like a rough elbow kind of effect, you know what I mean? Where there's like some pinkishness on like joints and ridges and stuff. And so I did that in the first step basically, because I was going to do transparent paints and oil wash like removal painting. So that's one example of where I've done it recently. Hey Hippo, thank you for the sub. Have internet again. Congrats. I'll tell you what though, this army I just built for 40k is Necrons. The reanimating robots. And my silver primer is ready. I want those to paint quickly. That's why I started with them for 40k, because I was like, I want these to paint up super duper fast. I'm not gonna just do like metallics in a wash. I'm gonna do some other stuff. But just to get that out of the way and start with a color, and a metallic color at that, should speed it up pretty good. I want it to be like it's kind of like parts of the casualties of older Necron armies. Like basically the idea is, so like every army is reanimating stuff and everything, but each dynasty, like each Necron lord, is like trying to take over. And so there's this one lord, or a Necron that nobody suspects, that's going around to the dregs of all the other battles and reanimating like what's left, until finally they have a force that can be reckoned with, and no one, you know, totally it's been underestimated and it's ready to like take over as a dynasty. And so I want them to be like not just silver, but just like a bunch of patchy colors. So I'm gonna do a silver. So this is kind of underpainting. I'm gonna prime it silver and then do contrast paints of like, I'm not going to do metallic speed paints. I'm just going to like do brown transparent paints over like the silver and just patch it up. And then I've been doing this effect for grungy stuff where I actually dry brush almost everything in like a beige. And it works surprisingly well on metals because it kind of is scratchy enough to make it kind of dusty and scraped up and damagey, but still highlight. And so you'd think it'd be kind of weird where it's like, why are you highlighting a metal in beige? But it gives it a nice like dusty battered effect. So anyway, silver primer, sloppy patches with contrast paint, quick highlight dry brush, and then airbrush some glowy effects. because they're cool and hopefully distract from all the mistakes and then call it done. This sounds really cool. Thank you. I thought of it years ago when I got the old launch box in like 2019 or 2020 for 9th edition 40k. There were Necrons in the box. And I bought multiple boxes, just opened them the past, like, this month. But I've had that backstory in like a Google Doc for years. So I'm glad they're finally coming to fruition. I have like 3 armies for 40k in the box. One is like Space Marine army, you know, everyone's got to have one, right? And I've had a custom chapter of Space Marines that I came up with in like high school called the Crimson Saints. So can do those. And then I also want to do Sisters of Battle, but like cyberpunky. It's almost like they like defected. The old Codex for Sisters, and like one of the first paragraphs in like the lore, they talked about how there was this faraway planet where there's this group of sisters that like were just hanging out totally isolated. And then some champion, like Space Marine champion, came to the planet with like their henchmen. And he was like, yeah, actually, I'm the Emperor of mankind. They're like, no, you're not, prove it. And he had like some psychic effect that could like deflect bullets. So they're like, yeah, go ahead, shoot me. And shot him, and like, it like deflected the bullets. So they're like, oh my gosh, this is the Emperor. And it was just interesting how they could be duped. And like, the Emperor is this huge presence in the galaxy and stuff. But like, the galaxy is so vast that like, people can be isolated and like just come up with weird beliefs and like misinformation and everything. And so anyway, I was like, so my Order of Sisters similarly thinks that the current emperor is not the real emperor. They're still yet to be like found or like make their presence known. And so they've like defected from the Imperium of mankind. And they're kind of like the punk, like rebel Order of Sisters. And so I don't know. I came up with that. I started with the paint scheme, actually. It's like, I want to paint Sisters of Battle, but like cyberpunk. Neon colors, but like chrome armor. It's mostly like lighting atmosphere and like the neon city over like lots of chrome. I signed up for a freehanding class at Gen Con. I'm scared. No, that's awesome. That'd be great. I'm interested to hear what you learn. This got very dark, but I think I can actually get away with it if I just highlight it. Now it just looks contrasty. Yeah, don't be scared. I haven't done a ton of freehand, but you know what you see me do almost every stream is freehanding texture like this stuff. And that's really just confidence. I mean, it's like a weathering effect, so it's more forgiving. But it's really just like diluting your paint correctly and having some confidence and trusting that paint covers paint, you can always fix it. But just steady your hands and have confidence. You'll be great. What was the last thing I actually like free-handed a design on? Oh, I guess on the stream I was doing that Free Blades anchor throwing guy that's like the anchor's like this long. And so I did a little anchor on his chest. It's not very neat. It's not the best freehand. But I did just like, as a last step, just like draw a quick little anchor. That was fun. For this custom Space Marine chapter I mentioned, I've always wanted to freehand a custom symbol onto each shoulder pad, but that is a lot. So I might just do one of the decals. I don't know. Decals is another thing I haven't done a ton of. But my main priority with those is to apply them early so I can paint on top so they look all chipped and more like integrated into the armor instead of slapped on top. So I'm kind of interested in learning some of that now that we have the Leviathan box. Your Marble Kitchen, I guess, was freehand. But again, that's not, I guess, it's a little more forgiving. It's not like freehanding a banner, like a logo or a design like on, which I'm sure is more what the class is about. Hello, Valandar. See, I'm going to get there and forget what a triangle is. You're like, okay, I'm ready. My brush is loaded. Oh no, what's happening? I get that. My girlfriend this week was asking for all these things that will be there when Cult comes in, like a stove and a bookcase. Heck yeah. That reminds me. Doesn't the stretch goal selection end very soon? I have to do that. I once freehanded a 3/4 inch by 1/2 inch painting for a mini with a paintbrush. I love that. Kudos to you. That always looks so cool. I've always wanted to try that thing that kind of popped up over the last few years of like the backdrop for a miniature, like the landscape behind, for like a display on like the plinth. There's like a tall background. That looks kind of cool. But I hear what you're saying. It's like a banner that's like an entire like scene painting. That's really cool. It's impressive. Excited to get some paint on these remaining parts because obviously Maul has a lot of black going on, so it'll finally kind of break up these parts that still have black fire on them. Ugh. Here, give me just a second. I gotta blow my nose real quick. Be right back. I'm back. Anyone else painting tonight, or what are you up to? Anyone have, for that matter, anyone have any recommendations on like some video games, like kind of casual, like play on a Steam Deck while watching TV, kind of not mindless, but you know, more relaxed. I'm kind of thinking about doing some of that. I haven't been playing games hardly at all. Thinking about cracking open Hades again, although that isn't exactly don't pay attention kind of game. I got very into that. It's like pay a lot of attention for your run and then like relax in between. It's like whew, hoofda. I guess I do have Zelda on my Switch. Should probably put some more time into that. I've been putting little clever patches into cover an area in a corner of a photo mural Thank goodness for natural patterns. If this was geometric, I'd be doomed. That's cool. I only play things so I can pause. That's my wrist cannot put up with anything too strenuous. Yeah, I get that. My wrist was pretty well conditioned when I was like playing lots of shooters. Just constant wrist action on PC. But then whenever I took a break and I came back, I was like, owie. Kind of an interesting shape here. The shoulder pad. This is kind of freehanding, I guess. I'm just like drawing reflections and creating an illusion. I'm a broken veteran of the Photoshop of wars of the late 90s. I need to finish painting the Sport Club, but it's so much. Yeah, there's a lot of detail. Sport Claws extra? Yeah. Just focus on petals and talons. Make them cool to distract from everything else, and it'll be a breeze. Right. Basically just tracing over my lines. A smaller area. Sporeclaw's drama girlfriend of the Wildlands scene. Alright, hopefully this step we'll kind of start to see some reflectiveness. Yeah, a little bit. A lot of nice edges to grab on the model here. This fun little kind of flare out of this ankle bit that's kind of fun to highlight. Ended up a little funky, but it's alright. Yeah, I kind of fixed it. All right. Grabbing some white, somewhat sparing with it. Not too sparing, but a little flare right there. Gotta get some really thin edges. I'm going into focus mode a little bit. this angle I want. It's a little big. Should be fine. Let's blend it out. Yeah, that looks alright. Looks pretty reflective. Maybe we'll add a couple back here for this angle. Yeah, not too shabby. I'd buy that. For the table. Alright, one leg down. Oh, I didn't do the wrists on the previous layers. That's right, they're on the palette. I gotta really make sure not to overdo it on the shoulders, because they're just kind of like a big, not a blobby shape, but there's fewer edges, so it'll be easy to over highlight. I just want to make some flares. Yeah, it looks pretty good on that angle. Fine on that one, but this is the main one anyway, so I'm okay with that. That's basically what I'm doing. Like, you're painting something 3D, but I'm always trying to exaggerate, and so I kind of pick like the movie frame moment. So it's like, here's this angle. It's mostly like, what's the most dramatic way to paint the prime front angle and the prime back angle? And then from there, I'm not even doing like true zenithal thinking, like top down. I'm thinking of like exaggerating the most dramatic. So I see this pose looks pretty dramatic. This isn't even the full back side. It's like this side angle. And so I kind of have drama here and a little bit here. I wasn't as happy with that, but gee, that's a good point. Maybe we'll push that just a little. Because we have a really fun angle of the armor, so if we're gonna spend time on the non-metallic, We'll add some drama there. But like basically just on these front ones, because like at this angle this is front, so for that's like an example here. Like this leg I will do less at this angle because like the drama's coming up here, if that makes sense. This is front facing. So I don't know, whenever I turn the model, I'm think of that as like a snapshot angle. So I'm not thinking like, oh, what's the exact realistic highlights? I'm just exaggerating the drama. So now that's kind of a cool angle. Then we got this kind of a cool angle, like this leg here from our prime angle looks awesome. Yeah, the character design's great. Iconic. Whatever. So we'll kind of do our main angle here again. Yeah, it looks pretty cool. Alright, I kind of deviated from this primary angle. Finish that out. Hey, that's coming together. Alright, probably get away with a little less on this remaining part of the leg, but still want to give it some of the illusion. Probably enough for me. So now at this angle, this is the front leg. It has the most kind of rendering, and then this still has some reflections, but it's kind of in the background at this angle. And you turn it. Now this is the dramatic leg, this angle. And then here they both kind of have it fairly evenly. Mini painting is kind of an illustration technique, really, isn't it? That's kind of what I've been how I've been thinking of it. And that's kind of like how I like my minis to look, is like a little illustrative. Like, I don't need it to be clean, I just need it to like read. I don't mind that it reads like painting. Do you know what I mean? I don't need like ultra smoothness. I like some texture with a little bit of drama, like exaggerated. Because it's by no means realistic. That's the thing, right? Even in 2D illustration, it's all an illusion. So as long as it reads, I want it to read over realism. Oh, we still have to do the other shoulder. That reminds me, I gotta show you an illustration I just got. A print I bought. You know, another illusion is like, I've kind of been saying add some flair. And I don't mean like add some razzle dazzle. I mean literally like a light flare when I'm kind of doing the dotting. And that's another illusion. It's like that literally happens from cameras. Like that's an effect of a camera. But it's a familiar effect for a picture, an image. And so it can kind of help you get away with like fudging stuff a little bit, where it's like you kind of blur it out right there. So this dot just kind of blurs out. So you're kind of it's all simulating stuff. In miniature painting, we do, in fact, live in a simulation. It's got a little too dotty, but it reads on camera. It's not even less smooth than I normally like. We can probably fix it with a little tail on the flare. But that said, on the table, you're not even going to notice that. Like at this, even at this view. So yeah, that's not bad. Even kind of seeing it up close, it's interesting to see like the brushstrokes, because I'm almost purposely looking from it like this far away, because that's how I want it to read, is from like table distance. Alright, well, I forgot to do the previous steps on the wrists. So for now I'm going to get this print. Hopefully it'll show up. Here, I'll BRB. Let me show you, I think it's an oil painting, but a print I got recently. One sec. Yes, I did also mark it as long as I was up. I don't know how this is gonna read on camera because I have the sheeting over it. But it's like this creature, and it's like it's a very dark environment. So I like the extreme lighting scenario where there's still like really bright spots of highlight to pull the focus, but I love how in the dark areas you can still see the figure until it finally does blend into the background. But like it's so dark, but there's still so much detail, and that's something I kind of am challenged by, is like painting dark things and like dark environments but still having it read. And I tend to over highlight to the point where it doesn't read dark anymore. So that's why I really like this piece. And then it gets super bright where he's just tipping his nose out into the light. Yeah, the contrast is great. So that's why I really like that. Like all this here, like this really interests me, where it's so dark. Like the color that's used is so dark, but you can still read all the detail until it finally blends into the darkness. Yeah. So anyway, I know it's awkward on my camera view, but Annie Steeg is the artist. I just follow her on Instagram, randomly was recommended. And she has an online store gallery with her husband called Gallery Gerard. I think that's her married name, is Gerard. And that the husband is Justin Gerard. Both do really cool work. They're worth checking out, both of them. But I think her art Instagram is Annie Steeg. Yeah, very cool. I'm also been interested in oils, so I've been looking at oil painters for fantasy stuff. Because even for like not just washes, like actually detailing in oils, I've been interested in. Because I think it sort of suits this style of painting, like the hobby hang, like layering up from dark. And just having a lot of that working time to do the blends, but it's a little faster and a little more freeform and spontaneous than like layer, let it dry, layer again, let it dry. So I don't know, I've been wanting to find it out. I don't think I would do it here, unfortunately, because the smell of the solvents, and it's a little messier, but I did try it a bit. Actually, my gaming stuff, my Oryx, I did a lot of oil washes, and then eventually I cut most acrylic steps. So that was kind of fun to experiment with, because I was going for speed, and once I started doing the oil washes, and then I was like just kind of tinkering with like thicker oils, and I was like, wait a minute, I might be able to get away with this with mostly oils. So that was fun. A lot of failures using a new tool, but learned a lot. So that was fun to paint that army. I still have more to paint, but I have 2,000 with some extra options, the standard point amount, 2,000 points. So I'm stopping the Oryx for now, doing some 40k. What do we have left to do? We have the wrist armor, which now that we have like the main body, we can probably get away with this pretty quick, especially because it's a little smaller. And then we do the lightsaber. And I gotta remember that too, especially on the wrists. The lightsaber will reflect a lot, so we don't gotta go crazy right now, because it's gonna get covered up in red. So I might even just take advantage of like the black primer for contrast and do mostly really bright highlights. We'll do this kind of mid-tone real fast. And just go straight to white. One more layer of white for the flare. There, like less than a minute. Not too bad. Not perfect, but again, we'll add the lighting and you won't even see it. From the saber, I mean. I'll get some on the bottom in case. Normally I'd ignore that, but a lot of verticality in Star Wars Shatterpoint, so in case we get an upward angle there. Again, straight to the white. And the flares. Tails of the flare, and there you go. That reads alright for the time spent. Alright. Speaking of white, I'm gonna layer this. Just to get the glowiness. And I have to remember I've painted a number of lightsabers on the stream now. I have to let it dry completely because I will start fiddling with the glow and I'll start pulling this off before it's dry. That is no good. Because that's the opacity thing again. If as soon as I start pulling out the white, what's underneath it right now is black, so it's just gonna look like a dark spot. I don't mind leaving a little black by the handles because I want that to be slightly darker anyway, so to preserve the handle painting, I won't go exactly to the edge necessarily, but alright, now we're not gonna touch it for just a minute. Suppose while we're waiting, maybe hit, if we can, some more edge right here. I do like how some of the paint is up on here, like it's dusty. Maybe we'll push that a little bit. Some thin little lines, a little text, a little free texture. Sandiness. I like how it's coming off a little rough. Sometimes, a lot of this is, especially on like the non-metallics, like sometimes there'll be a weird brush stroke, and I just kind of like let it go. It's like, all right, we'll lean into that. So like this roughness is nice, and I'll just kind of continue that, utilize it. But yeah, like on the metallic metal, sometimes I have a stray stroke, and I'm like, all right, we'll make that a bright spot, because we're not doing realism, we're doing an illusion. So all right, that spot's brighter, so we'll kind of fill it out around it, blur it out with the flare. I don't know. So when I have a lot of fun is those spontaneous things and not being afraid of it. I am remembering this angle, which is a little awkward at the angle of the base because the direction is this way, but that's not a mistake, it's just like it's an observation. So we'll just kind of make sure this gradient kind of comes from this way too, to like punch that angle. It's not quite as rough, so I'm just gonna blend it slightly. Kind of punch up this. Alright, so I'm going to paint the saber again, but I think just in case, I'm going to do one more layer of white. What's up, Nomies? How you doing? Yeah, this is for Star Wars Shatterpoint. Darth Maul. A skirmish war game. Just released like a few weeks ago. Maybe a month or more at this point, I'm not sure. Alright, let that dry. It's nice and bright for when we do some glowage. Guess we can get ahead of ourselves here and do the victory lap real quick. As long as we're watching paint dry. Still not certain if I like this like lip on these models, but I don't mind it. I just don't know if I prefer it. Alright, we'll start getting our red paint ready. Yay, red paint! And I'm not sure how much of it I'll use, but I do have a fluorescent orangey red kind of thing. Makes it look like a button or something. It does look nice and plinty, yeah. It's just a little awkward, like, you can kind of see the painting from the top on the rim, but I don't want to, like, overdo it and go over the top of the base. So, I don't know, it's a little awkward. I don't mind it. Alright. Let's start with something like thin and bright. Yeah, like I was saying earlier, red in general is just like a dark color even at its boldest before it goes to pink or red, so I'm glad I started here because it's still fairly dark. I might actually mix some white into other layers, but maybe instead I'll just like darken the perimeters and this will be bright enough in the core. I'll let that dry. I don't know, it's something about like how slender the lightsabers are. Maybe it just doesn't want to catch the paint as much. Like if I let it sit for a while, like if I got up, that white would be really dry, but anytime it almost like reactivates a little bit because there's such little surface area for the white underneath to like stick to, so it's pulling up just a little. But I guess while we're here, we can maybe start to add some surrounding light. Especially on the reflective bits. Kind of neat, nice and subtle because it's getting further away. These legs are so bright that it might even reach all the way down here, just a touch. Hey, good luck tonight. Have a great game. Thanks for hanging while you can. Most of it, really. We're almost done here. I appreciate it. Have a great evening. No, this is the second stream I've done this one. Today I pretty much just did the base, the armor, these reflective bits, the legs, shoulders, belt, wrists, and the lightsabers. So these kind of slate green pants and the black robage and the face and everything I did last time. Yeah. But this is your first time here. I do this every Thursday, or most Thursdays, 6 p.m. Eastern. Usually a new mini each time, or every other time. Like I said, this one took a couple streams, but... And, I don't know if you're coming here with the knowledge of Dwarven Forge, but we also stream on Wednesdays on the Anvil, just kind of goings on in the Dwarven Forge studio. Lots of fun chat. There's usually a giveaway, stuff like that, so it's worth coming back. Yeah, generally I paint a mini in one stream. It depends, like, sometimes I like purposely try to like, okay, we're gonna finish this, start to finish one sitting. But sometimes I take my time, it's spontaneous. It's a case by case. But in any case, we're painting minis on Thursdays. So, the same conversation we're talking about earlier with the underpainting, the same thing just happened. It looks a little pinkish over the white because I just sort of glazed it. I don't know if I mind that, because it's still going to blend into the color of the object slightly. It's not going to be, unless it's super duper bright, which this is, so maybe by the wrist we can make it more red. Maybe we'll do that. I don't think I necessarily mind the effect being pinkish up here. Maybe we'll just do another layer closer, and that will make it slightly better. I think it's also just this red actually has a fair amount of like white in it. So it could be my mistake, but... Depends on how much we distract you talking about Arby's. Yeah, that's fair. A lot of times the first 30 minutes is just me chatting and I'm like, oh right, I'm supposed to be painting a plastic model. Unless it's the Cardinal, that took like 4 streams because you kept redoing it. Hey, that was worth it though, because it had I really was happy with the non-metallic armor. You know what, strangely, I think I have to mix some of this reddish brown into here actually to get this right. especially on these far away ones. Might even touch this just a little. This one, just distance, because of its distance, maybe got a little too bright, and it's like such a dark item. Just kind of knock that back a little bit. I didn't go to Taco Bell to get the volcano menu stuff? What is that? Don't tempt me to get Taco Bell tonight. No, please do. Oh. Oh, you know what? I'm completely missing the sleeve. Should get a little bit. It's like cloth and fairly dark, so I don't need to overdo it, but just a touch. I think that ain't bad. I'm not super happy with the lighting color. It's still in a little pink. I might, if I were to be working on it more, I might adjust it, but I think it's pretty good for the table. Again, my lighting is all weird here. I feel like, there we go. It's a little better. I think the camera's like casting a shadow. It's a rehash of an old thing. It's basically a spicy sauce, presumably mayo-based. I'm on board. That goes on burritos and tacos, or you can get a side of it. I'm in. I'm absolutely in. Yeah, it's really interesting to kind of try to simulate, like, you know, like this chest cloth and the reflective belt is like a similar distance away from the light source, but because it's a reflective material, it's gonna like reflect more. It's kind of fun to experiment with. I'm fairly happy with how these medals came out. They were pretty quick, too. I think, again, these edges on the legs, all the little bits and bobs really helps out. Just where to place some fun reflections. I think you can read the red face a little better in person than on camera, but it is neat that it's like two red things, the saber and the face and chest, but the saber is obviously brighter. So that works out. Maybe we'll do just a little more contrast on the beam. I don't want it to get too dark because it's still all glowing, right? But touching the handle just a little since it'll be glowing right next to it. I don't know if this is really necessarily accurate to the effect in the movies or into lighting in general, but I kind of darkened the end just to have somewhat of a gradient in that direction as well. Just slightly at least. Yeah, so it makes the center look like it's glowing even more just by being next to slightly darker spots. Want to go ham, get it at my KFC Taco Bell and dip my KFC nugs in the lava sauce? You are speaking my language. Not too bad. I'm happy with that. That'll be fun to play with. Alright, let's take a peek at the old calendar. Next week... it looks like... on the anvil is scheduled, but I'm not 100% on that because there's other things going on that day, so stay tuned on the Discord for next Wednesday's on the anvil. And we'll let you know. Thursday the 13th, it looks like I'll be here. Looks like I'll be here hobbying and hanging. Those of you still here will be the first to know. Late July I will be out, and it might take up 2 streams. Yes. So the Thursday the 27th I'll be fishing. That'll be fun. And then I have coincidentally 2 trips back to back in which I'm finally attending the War Games retreat with my good friends. We tried to do it a year ago or more, but I got COVID, so I wasn't able to make the first one. But yeah, we'll be playing some 40k and stuff. So I believe that'll be August 3rd I'll be out. So it looks like the next 2 Thursdays I'll be here, though. So all that to say, next week we'll be hobbying, we'll be hanging. Stay tuned for On the Anvil. I'm not quite certain with the rest of what's going on there. But make sure to make your Lowtown stretch goal selections in the pledge manager. We've set that up. It closes soon. So please be sure to do that if you backed. And otherwise, Darth Maul says, thanks for hanging. That's what he sounds like, right? All right. I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.